Hey guys, how you doing? Today we're having a look at the early access for the Mig-19P by Razbam. I've been playing around with it for a couple hours now, and it feels great, it looks great, it sounds great. I love it. I highly recommend it for anybody who's kind of into the older style aircrafts and has an appreciation for that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and have a look at what this module has to offer. The Mikoyan Gurevich Mig-19 NATO designation Farmer is a Soviet second-generation single-seat twin jet-engine fighter aircraft. It was the first Soviet production aircraft capable of supersonic speeds in level flight. The Mig-19 prototype made its first flight in September of 1953 and was placed into production in 1955. It was the Soviet Union's primary fighter during the last half of the 1950s. Possibly as many as 10,000 MiG-19s in various versions were built by the Soviet Union, Poland, and Czechoslovakia. About 2,000 have been built in the People's Republic of China. Many other countries use the MiG-19, including Cuba, North Vietnam, North Korea, Iraq, and most of the Warsaw Pact nations. The Soviet Union phased out the MiG-19 in the early 1960s in favor of the more advanced MiG-21. However, the MiG-19 continued to be used by other nations for many more years. The People's Republic of China was the most significant user of the MiG-19 aircraft outside of the Warsaw Pact countries. By paradox, it purchased only 5 MiG-29P and PM variants of the aircraft from the Soviet Union in dismantled condition, but later started its own serial production of both versions. The MiG-19s built in China were called the Shenyang J-6 and remained a stable part of the Chinese People's Liberation Army Air Force. They've also been developed into the Nanchang Q-5 NATO designation Fan-Tan attack aircraft. Despite its age, the MiG-19 and its descendants exhibit good handling characteristics at low altitude and a surprisingly high rate of climb, and their heavy cannon armament, for example, a 1-second burst from their 30mm NR-30 cannons, had a projectile mass of 40 pounds or 18 kilograms, making them a formidable adversary in close combat. The MiG-19Ps were also put in service in the Western Hemisphere. The Cuban Air Force received 12 machines in total, of which the first 8 machines were delivered in crates in the course of 1961. After their completion, assisted by Soviet technicians, they were assigned to the 1st Escuadron de Caza at San Antonio Air Base. Worthy of note is the fact that some of the personnel were trained in former Czechoslovakia. In 1966, those aircraft were withdrawn from service. The Cuban MiG-19Ps were the first supersonic aircraft in Latin America. The other significant user of the MiG-19P and PMs was Romania. Its Air Force took delivery of a total of 15 MiG-19Ps and 45 MiG-19PM aircraft during 1959 to 1960. All the airplanes were put in the 66th Fighter Division, and the aircraft remained in service until the 1970s. After the disintegration of the Soviet Union, some of the successor states, now linked via the Commonwealth of Independent States, also became users of the MiG-19 radar-fitted aircraft. Azerbaijan used several dozen such aircraft in the period from 1991 to 1995, while some of the machines were reported to be on the strength of the Armenian Air Force. Later in its service life, the MiG-19P was upgraded to be able to carry the RS-K-13 air-to-air heat-seeking missiles and also to use the SBO-2B rear aspect RWR. The aircraft uses the ARK-5 radio navigation system. The system works in the 150 to 1300 kHz range and has a coverage of 200 kilometers. It can save up to 3 predefined radio frequencies or can be tuned manually. The arming equipment comprises the ASP-5N computing gun sight and the AR-18-8 radar sight. The combination of both sights assures target interception and correct aiming in low visibility situations, either at night or inside clouds. The two NR-30 30mm cannons assure accurate fire up to 1500 meters distance. Alright guys, so here we are inside the cockpit here. You can see some really nice textures. Looks well made. I was told by Razbam that there will be updated textures later on. They got whole new textures they're going to load in, so that'll be nice. The first thing I'm going to do, we already got the plane basically started up. I'm not going to cold start it. We're just going to turn up the in-cockpit lighting there, console lighting, so we can see everything. Everything's looking real nice now. We're going to come over here and we're going to hit these circuits. Going to hit those on. These are all basically for the sights, the gun sights, the radar. These are the two electronics for the electric power for the left and right guns. I'm going to hit those two on. So you can see now we have a gun sight up in front. And then what we're going to do is come over here. You see these two buttons here. These are the left and right weapon arming, gun arms, gun 1, gun 2. And then we got these two little lights here. It's going to be this one and the one beside it. And what I'm going to do is just click this first one here, and I'm going to hold it down. Wait for that red light to come on. There you go. And then the second one. And there's that second light. So now the guns are armed. Alright. The other thing we can do is, this is your weapon selector here. HP 30 is your guns. This would be the missiles and bombs and rockets and stuff. And we can talk about this in a different video, but today we're just going to set up the gun. Over here would be the radar controls. Okay, I haven't quite figured out how the radar works yet, and I know it's not going to turn on now because we're on the ground, but once we take off, that will turn on. This is your gyroscopic sight uncage button here, and this is your range selector, so you can go like 30, 35, whatever, based on the wingspan of what you're trying to kill. One more thing we're going to do before we taxi is turn on our nav lights. Alright, and that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and taxi now. Okay, so here we are at the runway here, just about ready to take off. Up ahead, I'm not totally centered, but that's okay. What we're going to do now is look at our flaps. So we have three positions for the flaps. We have off, which is this button here. We have takeoff, which is here, and we have landing, which is this one. So we're going to put the flaps in the takeoff position. Hit that down. And that's going to be it, guys. Then we're just going to hit the afterburner on, and she will just start to kind of pick herself off the ground. When you can see that happening, that's when you pull back on the stick and it just takes off. Alright, let's go ahead and try that now. gears up. And then you just want to come over here and hit flaps to off. You can see that radar coming on. Alright, so that's it. You're off the ground and you're flying the Mig-19. Alright, so let's try out the NR30 cannons on this bad boy. We got an F-86 Sabre up in front of us. Let's see if we can kill him.